Hey, everybody. Welcome into another episode of Back to You. Good to be with you guys on this beautiful day. Good to see your smiling faces. And my gosh, we have so much to talk about because kind of a lot happened in the coaching carousel last week in the NFL playoffs. Craig's Michigan Wolverines won the national championship. We won't talk about that. Oh, wait, we have to. No, I'm just kidding. And
Attaboy. He's in Michigan right now. Huh?
He is.
Yes, I am. Yep. It's a great time to be a Michigan sports fan. That's for sure. The Wings are humming. Got Michigan as the national champions, and the Lions with a big W last night.
The Lions, man. When was last time you heard
When was the last time you heard it's a good time to be a fan in Michigan?
It's been a moment. It's been a moment.
That was an unbelievable win against the the Lions game last night when they beat at the last second with 1 point, beat the LA Rams. Unbelievable. Great for Jared Goff and company in that city. And of course, everybody loves Dan Campbell. My goodness.
Yeah. Motor City Dan, they love him here. And boy, he's so infectious. He's got the team rallying behind him. We're all in the sports world. And when you have a coach that the players want to play for, you get the most out of them. Mm-hmm. Boy, do they love him here.
Well, I have to mention, we are all rocking our Johnny O's exclusive Back to You products that were sent to us by the great folks at Johnny O's. And if you want to get some and you want to also just get any kind of Johnny O's gear, you can go online and go to their website and cue in the code B2Y15. That's Back to You podcast, of course, but B2Y15 for 15% off of all merchandise on your first order. And of course, the website is johnny-o.com, johnny-o.com. And you guys, this shipment came to me last week. I hit the road for the Texans and the Browns game, and I was wearing my Johnny O's inspired Back to You gear, and all the people in my production meetings are like, Katie, where'd you get that stuff? I was like, well, I think I know somebody. So
here's the code.
Yeah, here's the code. It looks good. It feels good. We're just so grateful for the support of so many people that have reached out and offered, anything they could to help us with this podcast. And Johnny O's right off the bat, reached out. And I got an email directly back from Johnny O himself. He literally wrote me and said, we've got a brand new women's line coming out in March.
Yes.
I'm really
I was just about to say that.
About. Yes.
You're first off the shelf, aren't you? They pushed the product. They said KT needs something.
They did. And I've got a lot of golf tournaments coming up in the new year. So, if this line looks as if we think it is, and it's the most comfortable clothing you're ever going to put on, but I might be rocking some Johnny O's if they get me some gear. So we just appreciate. They're such great people, you guys.
They're awesome people. I've met Johnny years and years ago at a tournament called the Four Feathers tournament hosted by the Wirtz family here in Chicago, and I came in for it, met Johnny, and we got talking. And over the years, he always knew if I was playing in some kind of outing, and he'd be like, "Hey, I've got you something." I went to the Bahamas with a group NHL players versus MLB players versus NFL players. We had this great time, and we were all decked out. All the boys loved it. Grant Fuhr was our leader, and I said, we got all kinds of clothes. We got all Johnny O's clothes, and we wore it. And Mark Mulder had it also. He had some Johnny O stuff as well. And
he wears it in Tahoe, yeah.
Well, yeah, and by the way, he was a mirror guy like myself as well. So it's a small world out there, and it's great to see that he's got not branching out, but you asked right away, and I didn't know if they had anything for females, because it's obviously a different fit. And anyway, it looks great. And I know too. Like I got a bunch of stuff. I was actually just wearing one. I'm in Chicago right now. It is freezing cold, and I've got some Johnny O's casual zipper wear. It just feels good. That's what you got on right there, Niner as well.
Niners got the flannel on, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan, so right across the lake from you, Panger, and it's single digits here. And I've been wearing nothing but my flannels and my hoodies. The whole family's been like, "Oh my God, where did you get that stuff?" And speaking of Johnny O, and I've had a chance to talk to him over the phone a bunch of times, and want to give a shout out not only to him but to his staff. They've been wonderful. And I was talking to Johnny O last week, and our great friend of the show, Eddie Jovanovski, who works for Florida Panthers TV, is playing in the Amex in Palm Springs this week in the Pro-Am. And very Johnny O and I were talking. He's like, anybody else and this and that. I put him in touch with Eddie. Boom, shipment. So Eddie Jovo is going to be wearing it in Palm Springs this week. And then
Jovo Cop.
And then Jovo Cop. And then on top of that, the very next text message I get is from our good friend Jared over at Mira. What's your address? Your clubs are almost done.
Oh my gosh.
To get my CB 302s.
So exciting. I'm going tomorrow for my fitting, so I'm very excited. I know. And
are they going to record that, KT?
Yes, they're going to record it. So we will see it. The good folks at Mira are sending a whole camera crew. We're going to do a full-on golf club fitting, which I've never had in my life. I usually just pick up a stick and go. But I will tell you this. I've kind of been waking up in the middle of the night because of what Joe Buck said on our podcast last week, how he feels like he's not good enough to play with Mira clubs. And Panger, I feel like, what if I get this beautiful fitting and these amazing clubs and I stink? Like, what am I going to do?
No, it won't happen. It won't happen. It's a that is a fallacy of all fallacies. It truly is. They've got an iron.
I'm an average golfer. Everybody. I enjoy playing, but I just feel like these are going to be very sophisticated clubs for a golfer such as myself.
They're not. They're hand forged from Japan. You can feel them. There's small blades. My son uses it's a mini blade, and it is so small. And then I've got MB 101s. I pretty much have got down the gamut. I've used them all, and I sometimes too, KT. I'll take Niner's got the 302s. I'll take the 302 from maybe the 7-6-5 irons, but I'll blend them with maybe a 501 that I've got or something else. Like they've got them so that they'll find the right one for you. And when you're hitting the ball and it's just going to feel so good. And it doesn't matter. Like you can buy something off the rack and for a week you can play real well with that club. But then after a while, you're hitting the same shots that are coming off the club, and they're clearly not feeling the same way. You know what? This is the start of Kathryn Tappen winning Tahoe.
Got it.
Okay?
I love it. Right winning. You can bet on me. Well, I'm excited. That fitting is tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys posted. It should be a lot of fun. And elsewhere, major news, great weekend in football. A lot of surprises. I had that Texans-Browns game. And I got to tell you guys, CJ Stroud is something special.
Wow.
Really, I mean, 3 touchdowns by the half. It was amazing. He's just so calm, cool, collected. It was great to meet with him. Good to be in Houston and not Kansas City. I'm not going to lie. I normally draw the short straw with these games and the weather, but I was in a closed dome with climate control, so I was extremely happy. But so many shocks. I mean, I don't know, Niner, what stood out to you this weekend with all the football games? I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, luckily, my friends and I were all on Houston. We just thought that Cleveland Browns, hey, listen, they had a great run. Joe Flacco had a great run. But at some point, you knew that was going to come to an end. And listening to Annick Squared, our good friend over on his podcast, he said it best. Listen, Joe Flacco is going to get you what you need to get done. Now it's the playoff times, and he's a little bit older. He's had his good run of the playoffs. But one of the things that I read about was Cleveland defense at home versus Cleveland defense on the road, night and day. So I think having that home field advantage really helped. But CJ Stroud is something special.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone saw that coming this soon to be a rookie and to do what he did. And then moving on to Kansas City, you knew as soon as the temperature was announced and what was going to happen. You knew what was going to happen there. Miami didn't even want to get on that plane. So for everybody out there, I mean, Vegas even announced, hey, we need Miami to win this game. And you knew that wasn't going to happen either. So, but great day of football on Saturday. And then we moved on to yesterday. We're taping the show here today on Monday, but we moved on to yesterday. And, to have the Green Bay Dallas game, woo! Again,
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that. That was a monster blowout. I think you could have said ahead of time it was going to be competitive. You could say, Packers were going to go in there and Jordan Love and give it their best shot. But that was that halftime score. I mean, I was shocked.
Well, the one thing that I will say is there's so many different articles and different stats, and there was even a stat with the referee when Green Bay has that referee last night. They're 7-1 against the spread. Just crazy stats. But the gambling people that I was talking to and associated with in all our text threads, everybody was on Green Bay last night, believe it or not. Dallas, unbelievable at home. Their defense, CeeDee Lamb, the whole 9 yards, all the momentum, right? Then there's also an article out there saying Dak Prescott in the playoffs just can't get it done. So to see that coming was a shock. I didn't think Dallas would lose. Definitely didn't see him getting blown out. But they had the perfect game plan. Green Bay had the perfect game plan for him. And, you know, I'll move on to Detroit before I come back to Dallas and talk about the whole coaching thing. But then we move on to the night game last night with Detroit at home against the LA Rams. You couldn't draw up a better storyline. Matt Stafford coming back to Detroit after all he's done for the city and the Lions. He holds all the quarterback records. He went in to LA, got his Super Bowl win. Jared Goff comes here. And it was like, hey, we're going to throw you Goff for a token. You know, we get all the draft picks. But look what Jared Goff has done here for the Lions. Mm-hmm. I mean, as long as he gets protection and time, he's not going to make the big mistake. I don't think there was any turnovers in the game last night.
Yeah.
You know, and Detroit did hang on for dear life. And I think there's some weaknesses in the Lions secondary, as we all see. You know, CeeDee Lamb lit him up a couple weeks ago. And then last night, Nakua, you know, unbelievable rookie year that he had. He lit him up, too, for almost 200 yards. So they got some things that they need to work on. But I see Detroit under Dan Campbell getting a win next week, and they'll be facing the winner of Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. So, but
we get 2 more games to watch today. I'm excited.
Yeah. So as soon as we wrap up the podcast, we'll move on to cold, windy, cold, snowy,
football.
chilly Buffalo.
No. Listen, I'm flying. I'm taking private jet to Buffalo. They're paying me $20 an hour to go shovel the stadium clean. Did you hear that? Did you see that on social media?
Did you see the video?
Oh yeah.
That was unbelievable.
What are they doing up there?
How about the one guy with no shirt just sliding down?
I mean, some people are nuts, guys. During that Kansas City game, I'm like, I'm not so certain that taking off your shirt in these temperatures is a wise idea, but whatever. This is football fans and
do you remember
the drinks were all frozen.
Yeah, I know.
Everything. But I've got a lot of.
But do you remember the first Winter Classic in 2008?
Yeah.
Yes.
And in Buffalo,
in Ann Arbor. Oh, the Buffalo one. Yes.
And it was cold, and I was the one in Buffalo, and I'm looking around, and I'm seriously looking around. The fans they're doing the wave. They got no shirts on. They're sucking back cold beers. I'm like, this is amazing. You know, that's thick blood right there. And right now, my blood is thin. I got to tell you, I look at them and I'm like, you got to be crazy.
Yeah.
Living in Arizona
Amazing
for all
fans.
the years now,
Amazing.
I can't take the cold.
That's funny. I love the cold. I love the seasons. I love it. But yeah, the cold, Panger, I thought you were going to go towards the one at Ann Arbor, the Red Wings Leafs outdoor winter classic on New Year's Day. That is hands down like the coldest I've ever been. I remember looking over at Kevin Weeks on the set, and he had like icicles on his eyelashes, and it was windy. It was brutal. But
2 years ago, I was in Minnesota though, and it was about minus 25.
That was bad too.
That was without the wind chill, Panger. Remember that?
Yeah. That was the coldest one I've been in.
Appearance. You had to do an appearance for Truly outdoors.
Remember that? Yeah, exactly right. Me and Jonesy and old Keith Jones, God love this guy. He goes, hey, I didn't bring anything. I'm like, bring anything what? He goes, no boots, or I just got dress pants on and dress shoes. I said, what? Are you nuts? And he hung in there the whole time. He's the greatest. Love that guy.
I love it.
The Mura story is one of family passion and precision. It's one focused on the power of touch with every iron handcrafted and a belief in meticulous attention to detail. It's one grounded by an unwavering commitment to the pursuit of perfection. I can speak from experience. That buttery feel coming through the golf ball is truly second to none. You can visit MuraGolf.com to learn the Mura story, discover the lineup of forged irons and wedges, plus much more. Specifically for our listeners, you can enjoy 15% off your next purchase on the site using the promo code BACK2U15. That's back, the number 2, U15. MuraGolf.com also has a dealer location, so you can find a retailer near you if you're looking to test these irons out or get your hands on in person. Discover perfection with Mura Golf.
Well, we've been talking football, and I'm really excited because our guest this week on this episode is a former football star at Rutgers, my alma mater, as you guys know. But
we know that for sure. We know that
his story is just incredible, and I've gotten to know Eric over the years. But Eric Legrand was injured on a play in 2010. The game was actually at MetLife Stadium, guys. It was against Army. He went to make a tackle as a great defensive tackle. He was recruited by Rutgers to play that position, and went to make a tackle, and on the play was paralyzed. It was awful to witness. It was awful to see, the next couple months and the difficulties. But I will tell you, the inspiration is what he's done since then. And we're going to talk a lot about it. I just think that it is a testament to when people go through really difficult times, what they do after that, and learning and building on the adversity. And he's just become an inspirational speaker, an entrepreneur, just an absolute role model to so many, and he's a fun broadcaster to listen to. And I know he's joining us now. He's coming on today, so hopefully we can bring Eric here. And he just brings so much light and joy, and that's what we look for in this podcast. So there he is.
There's the big guy,
Eric.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Yeah, how's it going?
Eric, great to be with you.
Doing well. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you great. I think you got a better podcast setup than we do.
I'm just set up in my room right now. Relax.
That's great. Well, Eric, that's Darren Pang up there, and we got Craig Conley down wearing the Detroit Lions hat. We were just talking football, so I'm sure you were watching those games this weekend.
Sure it was. We had some pretty, some surprises, some pleasant surprises as well. So it was a crazy weekend of football, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And so, no, we're excited to have you. And I have to say, I got this special delivery today.
There you go.
Eric sent me a message over the weekend. When are you going to be home? Because, of course, you have to be 18 or older to sign for this. But I know. So in honor of that, Eric, I've made myself a nice little hot toddy for our broadcast. So
it's 5 o'clock
hot
water. I love it.
But I got to ask you,
lemon?
what I know,
Honey?
you've got the Legrand coffee house. You've got, there's a lemon in there, lemon, honey, and hot water, and a shot of Legrand bourbon whiskey. So first off, how did this whole concept come about for the, start with the coffee house? I know you started with that, and then it went to the whiskey.
Well, both concepts came over the pandemic, honestly. I was watching so much Hulu and Netflix. I got bored, honestly. And with a spinal cord injury, I always had to be extra careful and extra cautious of, obviously, the coronavirus because of my lungs and whatnot. So I was at home. I started listening to audiobooks and getting inspired by Phil Knight's audiobook, Carly Lloyd's audiobook, David Goggins. And I just said, I'm going to take a leap of faith and become my own entrepreneur. And I knew my downtown area was developing with a bunch of different apartments and whatnot. So I said, I'm going to put my own coffee house down in my hometown area. I never had a sip of coffee in my life until August of 2020. But I said, I'm going to learn about it. I'm going to hire a business advisor. And I just jumped right into it. And here we are now. We just had our 3-year anniversary of our online store, and our 2-year anniversary for our brick and mortar will be coming up in May of this year. And it's been quite a journey. I'm learning a lot, but it's been fun. And my main goal is I wanted to bring unity to the community with a daily cup of belief and just bring people together while everyone was at each other's throats during the pandemic with the coffee.
What is your hometown, Eric?
Woodbridge, New Jersey. So if you're ever in New Jersey and Woodbridge area, right? I like to consider ourselves Central New Jersey. I know there's a battle north, south. It exists. Well, I'm in Central New Jersey, okay?
Yeah, you're kind of caught. You're like Switzerland because, guys, he's not kidding. And I deal with this a lot. So I broadcast our Big Ten college football games with Noah Eagle, who's from Northern New Jersey. I'm from Northern New Jersey. And we actually interviewing over the weekend, we had Joe Flacco, lives in Haddonfield, New Jersey, way south, just outside of Philly. And, we went through the whole, is it a hoagie or a sub? Is it Taylor ham or is it, even the accent, Eric, when I went to Rutgers, I was like, why do you all talk funny? You were from the same state because South Jersey's got an accent and it's funny. It's a thing.
Listen, South Jersey's like Alabama, okay?
Yeah.
There's a different twang in everything that they say. John and phone and home and all that
stuff. Hoagie. I'm like, what is that? No.
So maybe you can help me out then. Eric, my son lives in Middlesex near Bridgewater. That's fairly close to, right?
That's right by me. He's Central Jersey, Middlesex County, baby. I'm in Middlesex County.
Panger, you got to send him. Okay, I'm going to be there. You got to send your son.
I'll be there in February. Okay. Absolutely, I'll be there in February, and I'll go there, and I'll. In fact, where's the best place I can pick up some of that whiskey bourbon that you got going? Because I'm a lover of that stuff.
I love to hear that, and we're all throughout the states. We're in over 300 locations right now throughout the state, and I will say that got started during the pandemic as well. It's funny because I've been all over the country, and I've had my fair share of cocktails, and a lot of times people see me in a wheelchair and they're like, "You can drink?" I'm like, "Just because I have a spinal cord injury doesn't mean I can't enjoy the finer things in life." And I reached out to my now business partner, who's a friend of mine, Brian Axelrod, who's been in the business for years, working with the likes of Jay-Z and Conor McGregor. And I said, I wanted to start my own spirits company. He goes, "Well, yeah, you and everybody else." But he goes, "Let me sleep on this." And he goes, "You know what?" Came back to me the next day. He goes, this is different. This is unique. And we're going to have a purpose to this. And we have my foundation involved where every case that we sell, my number was 52 in college, so $5.20 goes back to the foundation. But I want to be able to raise a glass of bourbon because that's something that fits me. It takes patience to make. You can't make bourbon overnight. It takes years and years of aging of it. You got to be very precise with it. And then at the end of a long day, you raise a glass of bourbon just for the cheers of life. And that's kind of what I do with my life and my mission and my purpose. So that's where the bourbon idea came about. And we just launched on March 1st of last year. And I'm glad to say,
congrats.
We're crushing it right now.
Congrats. So
congratulations. That is fantastic.
I know, it's amazing.
What was the process like of fine tuning it and finding the exact taste that you wanted?
So that was actually, it was very funny going through that whole process because as in the beginning, we're rallying up investors, trying to get some family and friends involved to get behind it, but we don't have any liquid. And my business partner, Brian's like, be patient. I'm like, I get it, but like, they're going to want to try something. And right now they're just kind of, investing on my name and off of his expertise. And, luckily they did that. And I remember we were going through the process of finding if we're going to go through MGP, which is a big liquor distributor. So sure. Like, be patient. And then finally, we actually got a call from this group called Brandiamo out in Tennessee who works with our now distillery that we work with, Bardstown out in Kentucky. And they said, we have this bourbon and we want to send it to you. We think it'll be the perfect fit that you guys are going for because I said I want something smooth, nothing that's going to burn your chest where you can only take one sip of. And I remember I said, all right, well, let's get some samples. They sent it over at 115 proof, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like, I'm going to die drinking this. I'm like, when I saw 115 proof, I'm like, this is going to be rough. I took a sip of it, and it went down smooth. And I was like, whoa, I think we got something here. Yeah. I took another sip, and I was like, oh, yeah. So then we proofed it down to 88. They sent some more samples back, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is amazing. And right there, we purchased 152 barrels of that bird.
Wow. Nice. Wow. Of course, a nod to your number. What? Go ahead, Craig.
Can you lift it up again for me?
Yeah,
KT,
of
can
course.
You lift up the bottle again for me? I want to take
it.
Oh, the label's really nice too, Eric. I think when you said that you didn't have any substance yet, but you had to design everything, I'm sure. Did the label come first?
The label actually did come first.
Yeah, I opened it, but it says "Believe" when it's lined up when you first open it. So you're reminded of Eric's great message every time you get the bottle and you open it up, and he's got his name on the side. I mean, the detailing is really beautiful. So the axes, very cool. Sorry,
it's actually it's funny when it comes to the bottle labeling. It's used because you want something that's going to pop off the shelf that people see when they walk by, and it has to be something that stands out. And we decided that we were going to call it my name. Because just like Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, Elijah Craig, we're going to call my name, and hopefully the story will live way past any of our time here on Earth, and people will be able to share that story through a bottle of, through a glass of bourbon. But
classic label.
Wanted to put the Believe.
It's a classic label. Looks like it's been around for 100 years.
Absolutely, and we also have the foundation cause on the back of it as well, and the two axes. One for Keep Chopping at Rutgers and one for Brian Axelrod. His last name is Axelrod.
Oh, nice.
So two axes on there, too.
Two axes right here, guys.
Well, I gotta tell you something, Eric. You've done a wonderful job putting that together. I cannot wait to buy a bottle and taste it. And the reason I asked a few of these questions, I'm helping Charles Barkley with his liquor company right now. And we're going through a lot of the same process. So he's got a distillery in Alabama with vodka and gin. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to tell him, they had the original label, and just like you said, hey, I want Eric Legrand to carry on a name and a legacy. Mm-hmm. I need Sir Charles on there, or CB34 or something like that. And I love your design and what you did with it. So I'd love for you guys to get together and talk a little bit about sports and football and alcohol at some point too. So
just tell Charles, forget.
I always love with Chuck. We always love to wrap it up with Chuck, man. He's hilarious.
He is hilarious. Just tell Chuck, hey, Craig, send this message back to Chuck. Just say, listen, forget your brand. Just invest in Eric's, and we'll make it one big property.
You know what? That's a great idea. I'm definitely going to connect you guys.
Yeah. Eric, I'm curious because, it wasn't always this great. It wasn't always so positive for you. And you went through an incredibly harrowing injury on the football field in front of people. At what point did you feel maybe the shift that, were you always this positive and ready to kind of tackle the world no matter what obstacles you faced? Or did you go through a period where you were like, you know what, I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it into something great?
It was there were some dark moments, especially the initial first few weeks when you're laying in a hospital bed and you don't know where your life is going to go from there. You go from playing, Division I football, living your dream, to tubes coming out of you every which way and stuck with a neck brace. And, there's some dark moments and dark thoughts that go through. But I will say, between the Rutgers community, New Jersey community, and honestly, the football community in the world, so many people reached out to me. I've always been that type of guy. Like, if you're relying on me to get the job done or for something up to me, I got to do it. Like, I have to get it done. And when all these people were going out of their way from me, I literally said to myself, how can I let them down? And I've always been that happy-go-lucky, jolly person. I was 20 years old when my injury happened. I'm like, I don't want to live a long, miserable life. God willing, how many ever years I have on this earth. I don't want to be miserable. So I made a promise to myself when I was laying in a hospital bed that I was going to live my life to the best of my abilities, be who I am. What you see is what you get, and don't put on a front for anybody. And, it's taken me to some great heights over these past 13 years, and I can't wait to see what the rest has in store.
When you were lying there the first time and you were conscious, Eric, what could you feel? What part of your extremities could you feel?
People ask me that all the time, like when you made the tackle on the player, Malcolm Brown, what did you feel? And honestly, I didn't feel anything. I fractured my neck right away, and it damaged my spinal cord right away. That the last thing I felt was my body go stiff and my legs slowly come down to the turf and my heels hit. And then right there went to not being able to breathe. So I was kind of focusing on trying to be able to catch a gasp of air or anything. But at that time, I had paralyzed my diaphragm. And yeah, it's a scariest moment of my life. But I will say I did not feel any pain from the injury.
It's unreal.
Boy.
When you look at we've seen spinal cord injuries since yours. We saw them before yours, but I know there's a young man in New Jersey who 10 years ago, it's crazy. It was 10 years ago because I feel like, well, with all of your injuries, they were very recent because the memories are so vivid. But Michael Nichols, who was a hockey player and became paralyzed on the ice in a game on January 4th in 2014, it was, so 10 years ago. When you see it happen, and are you one to reach out immediately? Do they reach out to you? Like, how does the community continue to support one another? Because, unfortunately, these injuries happen.
Yeah, they happen every 45 minutes, actually. It's crazy
Wow.
to think that. But yes, we call it the spinal cord injury family, a family you don't want to be a part of, but once you're in it, we got you for life. And I originally heard about Mikey's story right away, and I'll never forget going to see him in the hospital like the first 2 weeks of his injury. And I'm not going to lie, it did not look good. I was like, I left there, and I was very upset. I'm like, I really hope that Mikey can pull through this and be able to handle this because it wasn't looking good. And then that man's courage and his spirit and his just tenacity, he was able to fight through so many secondary complications that came his way. And my injury, I was 20 years old. I believe Mikey was 17.
Yeah.
So like he was really young. And I thought I just was praying for him at the time. But then to get to see Mikey now, get to know him now, he's an inspiration to me because he's battled back from so much for this happening into high school to where he is now, going back to school, working at Monroe High School, where he went to high school at. It's great to see the life that he's made for himself, where it could have went a totally different direction from seeing him after 2 weeks after his injury to now 10 years after his injury. And I know we have good days and bad days, but I will say Mikey's doing amazing. And I'm glad to be in his corner and call him my brother.
Yeah,
that's
amazing.
So great for you to be there for him and with him. Boy, oh boy, I can't imagine that. Jack Jablonski, another former NHL, former hockey player, I think he was a similar age as Mikey in that 16 to 17 year age. Do you know Jack at all, Eric?
Yeah, I spoke to Jack as well, Minnesota guy. I've gotten to speak to him.
Great kid.
Years.
Me too.
I told you, this community, it's we all hear about each other's stories, especially the athlete stories.
Yeah.
We all hear about each other. We find a way to connect. And the biggest thing too that sometimes people don't realize, it's the families that are affected. The families that also get their life flipped and turned upside down. Moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and friends. And a lot of times we have to support them as well because they don't know what to do. My mom didn't know what to do, but the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation stepped up huge for us in those moments, and was a reason why I partnered with them, 2 years later, and started Team Legrand of the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. And just to see, like I said, these injuries happening, unfortunately, all the time, just the progress that has been made over the past now 13 years since my injury. It's amazing to see, and it gives me hope every day. And I try to provide that hope for the people that may not have the same platform as myself. Unfortunately, these injuries happen, but one day we're going to live Christopher Reeve's dream, and that's a world of empty wheelchairs.
And Eric, how are you doing from a physical standpoint? Like what is your day to day to continue to improve and continue to, reach towards your goals?
It's honestly, it's staying active. I've definitely recovered a lot from what originally the doctors didn't think I would recover from, but now it's doing my therapy sessions once or twice a week at home, being out and about, not just sitting inside all day long and your body gets stiff. There's no blood circulation. I'm always on the move, which actually keeps you out. The doctors will always tell someone with spinal cord injury, keep it moving, like go out, do this, do that, like do different things so your body is used to doing it. So I always try to tell people, how you go to the gym to stay in shape? Same with me. I do my therapy sessions to stay in shape, keep my body healthy for that one day when that cure does come. I'll be able to put up to whatever type of rigorous therapy that's going to come after it as well. So keeping my body strong and connected and grinding away at life.
Well, I got to congratulate you, and I'm wondering if there's a trophy or an award somewhere by you as the analyst on the Rutgers Football Radio Network, the New Jersey Sportscaster of the Year last year. I'm looking for the trophy, big guy. Where is it?
It's in the man cave right now, the room behind me.
I love it.
How are you enjoying that? I know the radio can be so fun, but I mean, and it's your alma mater. Like, how do you like it?
Honestly, it's amazing. It gets me jazzed up going to the stadium every Saturday, being able to still do the away games from my house and watch the Rutgers football team. I'm so tuned into that program. Obviously, I played in that program. They're part of my family, but literally that's my life during the fall times in the week. I can't remember a Saturday actually where I've been out. You guys know, you guys got to go to work. Yep. But I enjoy it so much, and to see the team, go from the good, the bad, and the ugly. And now Coach Shiano being back and going back to bowl games, who was my coach. It's just amazing to see, be a part of it. Be able to call the games with Chris Carlin, I call him Grandpa because he always yells at me. When I start acting up and start yelling at the referees on the radio, he gives me the look. I'm like, all right, let me relax.
Calm down a little bit.
Exactly, working with the likes of Ray Lucas, man. Lukey Luke, I loved working with him, and then Mike Teal, Julian Penix-Hodrick, Mark Malusis, all those guys. Those are like family when we've been working together now all these years. It's fun.
What a great season it was this year, though.
Yeah.
If I'm into a bowl game, oh my God, it's been rough. But to see the progression of the team, but to watch how when you watch them all the time, you see when they were at their worst, to see how much better they're getting, and with the season that's going to be coming up now with all the seniors that have came back. I'm fired up. Like, I'm ready to go. Bowl game, we got this 6 wins, and now we ended up having to win a season next year. I'm like, we can get 9 or 10 wins. Like, I'm ready to go.
What do you think about next year with the Big Ten, with all the schools coming in and transfer portals and all that stuff?
It's nuts. It's crazy, nuts. Right? The transfer portal, you can't even keep up with it sometimes. You hear, obviously, the breaking news, but there's just so many kids in there. But then I look at it this year, I'm like, it's going to be weird. Rutgers not playing Ohio State, Michigan, or Penn State. I'm like, I'm so used to going up against those big dogs like that. Now we get Washington, UCLA, USC, and I keep on saying, yes, you got those flashy teams, but there's something about that Big Ten physicality that they're going to be a little bit of a rude awakening, as we saw Michigan, Washington in the national championship.
The weather. The hardiness. Yeah,
it's not going to be 75 and sunny every day. Obviously, Washington was playing up there in the Pacific Northwest, but still, it's going to be a big difference. But I'm excited to see, the little, obviously probably a little bit more parity in college football, mixing and matching some of these other teams and other conferences now coming into the Big Ten. SEC should be very, very interesting. But that transfer portal, like I said, I can't even keep up with it.
No,
it's just crazy. Eric? Go ahead, Panger.
No. I was going to mention. I've been at the NHL I retired as a player in 1990, and I've been in broadcasting since that time, Eric. And you're talking about therapy and getting out and about. Is the feeling for you as you go into the locker room and the boys just they come over to you? the energy that you get from them. I still get that every single day going in the locker room, and no matter how old, and I am a grandpa, by the way, but getting in there with 5 little granddaughters, but to go in there, there's something about how revitalized you get. No matter how you're feeling that day, you just get in that locker room. I'm sure for you, that's part of the therapy. Would it be? Am I safe to say that? Just to be around the guys?
Absolutely. You know, people ask me all the time, what do you miss the most about football? And it's not practice. No, it's definitely not practice, actually. But game days are always great, but it's the locker room. Yeah. It is the locker room after a hard practice, after a hard workout session, after a victory. Like, that's where you really, you know, grow with your brothers and your sisters as well. You know, being in that locker room, being able to just let loose, you know, be around the guys, joking around and celebrating, going through the ups and the downs of life, picking each other up when you're down, celebrating each other's victories. There is nothing like a locker room. And as you guys all know, working in this field, being in that locker room, you get to see those celebrations and what it's like in there. And that is what I miss the most about football. And yes, when I get to go talk to the team and be around them and stuff like that, it's fun. And then you roll into the locker room. Obviously, I'm a lot older now, but still it's energy when you go in there. Everyone's having a good time, joking around, and it's hard to explain to just your casual listener that doesn't really know, you know, sports are about the locker room. But I try to explain it the best way I can. And I say, just imagine going into a room with people from all different walks of life, just coming together for one common goal and just enjoying life. That's the best way I try to explain it.
No wonder you were the sportscaster of the year. No wonder. Man, did you say that well? I'm gonna go back and listen and write every bit of that down so I can bring it back to the locker room here of the Blackhawks.
That's great.
You got it.
Eric, I got to talk about your mom first and see how she's doing. You mentioned how, you know, the family deals with so much when the injury happened. I know mom was a big part of it and a big supporter of yours. And, you know, how's she doing now and how are things?
Mama Dukes is everything. You know, does all the behind the scenes work, you know, handling the insurances, making all those phone calls, medications, like all the stuff that I don't feel like doing. Just, you know, she does all of that. She's been involved with the coffee shop, you know, with my employees over there. I got her involved with that, with my foundation. She's the one, you know, bringing me to all these different appearances, speaking against. Just I have friends and things that people that drivers that bring me places, but she's right in the nick of things as well. And I always tell her it keeps her young. I'm like, I'm keeping you active instead of just sitting there in bed watching TV or this and that. I got you doing all these different responsibilities, and you're making me older. But no, Mama Dukes is good. She's always, I always say, she made me into who I am today. But how she raised me, the discipline that she taught me, and just always nagging at me to do the right things until it just became instinct to myself.
Yeah. Well, no question, you're doing all the right things. You're so busy. You've got so many great ideas and all this entrepreneurial endeavors and the coffee house, the whiskey and the bourbon. Is there something else down the pipe? Are you working on anything right now that we can get excited about too?
Right now, we're looking to start expanding with the bourbon. Actually, I want to be able to get into more states. You know, we're working with having calls with different distributors in other states because there's a lot of liquor licenses. Like you can't just use one distributor in one state. Got to be able to expand. So we're looking to expand that. And also with the coffee shop, additionally, going into year 2, I want to be able to start franchising them. I want to be able to have a coffee shop there up in North Jersey.
Bring it.
You know, all around. So that's a big goal of mine for year 2. With Legrand Coffee House, being able to start franchising them, and foundation-wise, continue to have different events, raising more money. We're going to change up my 5K walk this year, and see, I'm giving you guys breaking news. We're trying to have it on during a game this year. Usually have it in the summertime, which is our biggest, but I think we're going to try to do it on a game day at Rutgers, which will get the whole out as well. So
have them walk right down that Jersey boardwalk towards the stadium as the finish line, right?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. Yeah. So we got a lot of things planned for 2024. It's going to be special.
That's great.
That's great. Kathryn will be there with a bottle of bourbon.
I would love to. Well,
it's like shots right at the finish line.
Make sure it's an NBC primetime telecast game, Eric. That's the only way. Everyone always says, like, are you going to get back to Rutgers football game? I'm like, guys, I literally, if Rutgers is playing, I'm working because I'm covering a different game of the Big Ten that weekend. But it's so fun, and I'm just so proud. I mean, it's such a great community, and there's something about Jersey. So I know that, you know, you have just experienced that love from the entire state. I mean, we are a quirky state. Everyone else around the nation does not understand us. They fly into Newark and they're like, oh, it's gross here. I'm like, no. No. And by the way, keep all of them out. We got enough people in the state, right? But I love that you can look to expand and go to the different communities in New Jersey, and also maybe the Big Ten schools. You know, there's so many places on campus. Maybe you go to some of those Big Ten schools and expand too. That'd be fun.
Absolutely. I mean, the sky is definitely not limited. So I can't wait to continue to grow that. And as you said, New Jersey, we got everything here. You got the mountains in North Jersey. I say you guys call it civilized central, where everyone is. All the people are just mixed down here. And then I told you South Jersey's Alabama, and then you got the Jersey Shore. So
that's right.
We got a little bit of everything. It's not just Newark Airport when you guys fly in.
I know. I love it. I love getting a bad rap. I'm like, just don't mess with a Jersey girl, because we got Bruce, we got Bon Jovi. I'm like, Panger knows.
Yeah. You got my son married a Jersey girl, and between Bruce and the greatest golf courses in the world, I mean, I'm more than happy to be in Jersey. And by the way, the New Jersey Devils, they're coming on. I can feel it. They had a great year last year, and I was just recently there broadcasting a game, and the crowd was unreal. I mean, it was sold out. Eric, have you been to many games? Any of the Devils games?
Oh yeah, I was there a bunch last year. I'll be actually there coming up this weekend. It's the Rockets gets pumping in there.
Yes.
I tell you what,
it sure does.
They got a young group of guys over there. If they could just put it all together, I mean, the Hughes brothers, love watching those guys, but they fly on ice. They're just so fast out there. It's yes, you can enjoy it and appreciate it on TV, but when you're in person, it's different.
Nothing like it.
I actually had my Legrand coffee house. We had our Christmas party there last year. I got to bring all my employees. They'd never seen a hockey game in their life, and to watch how intense they were watching the game, screaming. I was like, who are these young people that are just getting all into it? I loved it. So I do enjoy going to the games.
That's awesome.
Eric, we always say you got to get people. People always ask me about the game of hockey. I don't understand it. Well, go to a game live. You got to get people that have never seen the game go live. Get them good seats. They will be attracted to it, they will be attached to it, and then they can watch it on TV. And we've got so many brilliant analysts on TV that'll describe it really well. And then you go back to the game again, then you see it again. You're like, okay, now I know what an offside play is. Now I know what icing is. Now I know why the whistle went. But when you go there the first time or you see it on TV, it just happens so quickly. Listen, I think I'm a good sports fan. Football, sometimes I'm like, what just happened there? Like I'm sitting with somebody that knows football, and they're like, well, of course it was a hole in offensive line. I'm like, yeah, all right. I didn't even see that, but I get it. We all have our sports and our eyeballs for what sports that we have grown up with. And so I'm glad that you had new fans go there and see that. And if you need some tickets, we'll call our good buddy, Marty Brodeur. He's got a statue out there, I understand.
He sure does got a statue. My manager literally bought 3 different types of New Jersey Devils jerseys now after going to that game. Wow. She's a avid fan. Great. That's insane.
That's awesome. Eric, before we let you go, I know you're keeping an eye on the football playoffs and everything. Do you have a favorite team for the Super Bowl this year?
Oh, man.
Careful what you say, Eric. Careful.
Hey, I like Detroit. See, it's funny. I'm a Jersey guy, but I grew up a diehard Denver Broncos fan. Because of my guy, Terrell Davis in the 90s. That was my guy, TD all the way, Mile High Salute. And I've been a fan since I was about 8 years old. And it's been rough, okay? It's been rough over here and for me as a fan. But going into this, I thought, man, I'm waiting for the Chiefs to slip up. But they find ways. They just find ways. Andy Reid's a good friend of mine. But I will say, maybe Buffalo finally gets over that hump this year. Maybe Buffalo gets in there, and I would not mind seeing the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. I will ride that high into the Super Bowl.
Ooh, baby.
Versus Detroit, like, what? And I'm definitely going with Detroit.
I'll tell you what. I will make this deal with you. If Detroit gets to the Super Bowl, it's in Vegas this year. I will be in Vegas with Sir Charles. We are having a Redmont vodka party the Friday of Super Bowl weekend. You're more than welcome to come. We'll get you out there.
Ooh.
I would love that. I will definitely be out there, and you don't gotta tempt me twice when it comes to Vegas.
I say this.
I've had some good nights.
Chucky's got the private jet.
Now you got to root. Even now, we're all rooting for the Lions.
No.
How shocked were you?
New Lions.
How shocked were you at the Green Bay game?
I mean, complete shock. So I love to talk about this. I have a group message of friends that we've been friends since we were 5 years old. And if that group message ever got leaked, they would probably all go to jail. But there's 6 of them.
As with all of ours.
We all got all those. We have all those.
There's 14 of us in there, and 6 of them are Cowboys fans. And I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed every minute of it.
That's great.
I think because I've been getting stuff for the past 8-9 years with the Broncos. So to watch this happen year after year after year, like I don't hate all Cowboys fans. I don't know. I'm not like Stephen A. Smith hates all the Cowboys.
Yeah.
No, but
you're digging in though. You were digging in.
Love seeing them be miserable. Like misery loves company. It's been a miserable season for me. So I enjoyed watching that, but I was in complete shock. And I'll tell you what, Jordan Love looks special, and he's in your division. So I'll be a little bit nervous over there. So he is the real deal, and all those young guys. And I will say, Rutgers guy in there, Bo Melton, showed out at the end of the year.
Yeah. How about your guy Pacheco too? Oh man.
Oh yeah, Pacheco. See, I've been watching him since he first came to Rutgers. And that dude is, when he puts on, the nicest guy in the world when he's off the field. He puts that helmet on, he becomes a maniac.
Yeah.
He's just something like he just goes nuts. And as you see when he's running the ball, he runs as hard as he can, and every time he lowers his shoulder, it's like boom, 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 bouncing off of him.
Yeah,
he's a brick to bring down. But
yeah,
I love Pop, man. He's such a good kid.
So who are you predicting to win it all?
Here we go. let me go here, Eric. I got some. I'm writing it down.
All right, I'm gonna go with.
It's got to be the Chiefs. Come on.
I won't do it. They're my division. I can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it. Nope. But. Can I ride high with Detroit?
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
I'm going to make you happy. You know, I mean, your NFC team, I'll go for you guys. I mean, even though my Broncos beat Buffalo this year, I still said Buffalo, Detroit in the Super Bowl. Let Detroit win it all. I'm all for the story. The underdog, Dan Campbell biting kneecaps. Give me it all.
Yeah. All right. There you go, guys. You heard it here first. Go Lions. All right. You can follow him at Eric Legrand 52. You can follow the coffee shop at Legrand Coffee House, at Shop 52 TWO, of course, for your brand and all your merchandise. And now the at Legrand Whiskey. Again, this is
the good stuff.
Love it.
The good stuff. But I appreciate the bottle. I'm gonna I'll circle back with you. It's funny because I'm not a bourbon drinker. I do drink it in a hot toddy. But I love that. So I like to have something around because, our voices, our vocal cords, there's nothing like a good hot toddy, especially these long winter months. Yep. But when I opened the bottle, Eric, and I smelled it, I was like, wow, that smells, you were talking about smooth before. It didn't make my nasal hairs go on end as most whiskey and bourbon does. So good job.
That's exactly what I
know my expertise in whiskey and bourbon.
Exactly what I wanted. So when people that
you just went
bourbon, I want them to be able to try to be like, you know what? This isn't bad. And then it's very versatile. You can mix with a bunch of different cocktails. Okay. And where you just like, you know what? This ain't that.
A lot of lemons as well as that. But you know what you just did, KT?
Yeah.
You this is the small initiation, the hot toddies first.
I know.
And then it's gonna be with a nice block of nice big cube, and then it's gonna be neat. And then hello again, everyone, and welcome back inside. I'm Kathryn
Tappen. It's all going downhill after this, Eric. Thank you for introducing me to bourbon. Great. Well, congrats on all your success. All your inspiring moments, and for just keeping to be you. And we love you. We're glad you got a chance to come on the podcast. And we're going to keep an eye. Panger's going to show up at the coffee shop soon, as will I, because I don't live far in Morristown, New Jersey area. So but
I'll send you a text. Okay, Eric, I'll grab KT with me, and I've got to just say that this is truly inspirational. I think that's the right way to say it. And we got so many people that they just go on the other side, and you're not that guy.
Thank you. Yeah. That means a lot to me. I appreciate it. And like I said, guys are more than welcome. We'll set it up. Guys, come on through and enjoy this good time. We'll make sure we take care of you.
We love you. Thanks so much, Eric.
We'll keep in touch. Number 52 in our program, number 1 in our hearts.
Yeah.
Let's go Lions, baby.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Take care,
See you soon. Bye.
Fabulous. And look at Niner. He's got the vote. He's got the vote from Eric. He's got the lines going on now, and
I know, right?
All of Michigan. And Niner, I'll say this too in celebrating the life of your grandmother, 97 years old. I know you're in Michigan. I know that's been tough for you, but I'm sure she's maybe she cheered on those Lions. I know was an avid sports fan.
Huge sports fan. She was looking out over them for sure.
Think she pushed them over the line a couple of times?
Ooh, definitely. She was watching it up there with Grandpa, no doubt.
That's great, buddy. Well, our hearts are with you. Know that, huh?
Thinking of you, Craig.
I know these aren't easy times, so.
No, never easy. No matter how old, it doesn't matter. It's a loss. So yeah.
What an inspiration Eric is, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. It's really remarkable how many people whine and complain every single day about something so. And then this guy is not only has survived but thrived, and it's something else. I mean, that's just tugs at your hearts. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Love it.
And Panger, I would be remiss to not mention that you've experienced, you've experienced a horrific accident from your sister-in-law in a biking accident, correct? And she became a quadriplegic. So you know how difficult life is.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with this, when you're confined to a wheelchair, I hope, you could speak to that right now. I don't want to, of course, cross any personal lines, but
certainly these things can be catastrophic, and in many cases they end up being catastrophic. Families get torn apart. In our case, Tracy did have she was a quad. She survived for, a little bit of time, and she did pass on. And it's just being there and seeing the family and seeing everybody go through everything and seeing the kids. It's something that you just don't want it to happen to anybody, but it does happen. And if I'm not mistaken, Eric, I had to write it down. Did Eric not say it happens every 45 minutes?
Yes.
45
There's
minutes.
a spinal cord injury?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And he's made the most of his situation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot probably don't have the same, maybe the desire, the self-motivation, or the positive attitude. And clearly you see with Eric, to turn his life into what it is right now I can't even begin to say how, I don't even know him and how proud I am of him based on the situation that
Panger,
we went through.
The word that comes to mind is the word that you always use, gumption.
Yeah, no doubt.
So true.
Just that inner gumption, huh?
Yeah.
Some really have it, try their hardest, and then have a nice spirit about them. And clearly, that's what our show's all about too. We've had so many remarkable guests here on this show, and it's not a one-dimensional show, and hope that our fans are really enjoying it and enjoy. Maybe a lot of them don't even know who Eric Legrand is. And then they, they see it. If they're listening, then they know 5 minutes into it. But if they're watching, they're seeing him in a wheelchair. They're seeing him with his iPhone, I believe, was on his right side. He's got, it's everything he does takes an effort and takes preparation. But you mentioned it with his mother, and you have to have that support. You have to have everyone around you. And even I was reminded of this just recently with, friends fighting cancer or friends being sick, friends that have anything. It's the people that are around that are taking care of them are the ones you got to reach out to and say, hello, how you doing? Like, how are you doing? Because God bless Eric's mother. Because that's
wonderful. Yes. I haven't met her.
That part of it's taken care of.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. No,
and sorry to cut you off, KT. You mentioned that he won an award for being a broadcaster.
Sportscaster of the Year in New Jersey.
And you know what he's going to win another award in? Being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
you could tell that's going to be successful in everything that he does, from the whiskey to the coffee to the clothing brand, etc. So
he's received, and by the way, he's received a number of awards. He's, he was I read that he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame as the third recipient of the Warrior Award. He's won many accolades, but to him, it doesn't matter. I think as all of us here, he's doing this because he's making a difference in people's lives based on a horrific tragedy and awful accident that happened to him. And I think that's the biggest award you could ever receive in life is being that inspiration. Hopefully somebody listening and watching us getting to know Eric for the first time, or perhaps his story. I mean, it's more about what's happened after. It's more about the past 13 years, not what happened that day in October of 2010. You know, he's just done a remarkable job making the most out of his life. And he is a busy man. You know, he is the fact that we were able to get him hey, can you come on Monday? Yes, I can. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, very busy. Amazing. And as you heard him say, stay busy, right? A body in motion stays in motion. A mind in motion stays in motion. It was such a powerful message. That's like, don't sit home. Don't bad things happen when you just sit steady and you just don't do anything. Keep your mind going, be around people. And he's amazing. So I'm glad we got him on. We have had some great guests.
Thank you too. KT, you're the one responsible. I mean, it's your relationship with Rutgers.
That's our network.
Yeah.
We love Eric. Yeah. I'm going to put a picture. I'm going to send it to our producer, Cody. I'm going to give you a picture of Eric and I a couple of years ago in the broadcast booth. So,
nice.
And I was trying to tell, I wanted to interrupt, but I wanted to also let Eric go, but the McCourty twins also are Rutgers stars on the football team. And I saw Jason McCourty on the field in Houston this past weekend. And I told him we were having Eric on the podcast, and he was all excited. And of course, Jason and Devin McCourty, we watch him every Sunday on Football Night in America, doing a great job. So I know
what's with guys, the Rutgers. What's with all the great broadcasters coming from Rutgers?
Well, and the irony is, we were all in the journalism. I wonder if the McCourtys were in the journalism school, but I didn't have much experience at Rutgers in the broadcast booth because I was competing. I did 3 different seasons, cross country in the fall, indoor track, and then outdoor track. So there was no time for radio in addition to that. So I don't know, something in the water in Jersey, guys. Y'all wish you had it, don't you?
It's the new Syracuse, huh? That's
what, Syracuse. All those guys went to Syracuse.
Yes,
a lot of them.
The Syracuse, we call it the Syracuse Mafia. Oh, Cody's letting us know that Devin did graduate with a degree in sociology, and Jason started 3 years at Corner for Rutgers. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in information technology. So neither of them are broadcasters, but they were outstanding football players, Super Bowl champs, and they went in the booth and they're killing it.
A bachelor's degree in information technology. You have that, KT. You already have. Now, I can safely say that Niner and I do not have information technology.
No chance.
Technology is getting crazier and crazier, guys. I'm falling to the wayside. But
hey, when this podcast becomes big enough, I'm going to need an audio tech or somebody right next to me to help me.
We're going to get you out of your mom's kitchen. Don't worry.
Mom, Dad, I know what I'm getting you for Christmas next year. High-speed Wi-Fi.
I love it. So, Niner, you're in Michigan. I know, celebrating the life of your grandmother. But what's next for you coming up after this?
Yeah, so we're taping here on Monday, and I'm off to Toronto on Wednesday. We got a big pay-per-view in Toronto at Scotiabank
Canadian
Arena.
one, I tell you.
Yep. I'll tell you, maybe I'll see Harry Neal and Bob Cole there. But
there you go. I tell you, good guys.
Yep, good stuff and stuff. But off to Toronto, then back to Arizona on Sunday. Probably get Chuck round 2 next week. And then off to Vegas a couple weekends in a row. Probably going to have to get down back to Toronto. NHL All-Stars coming up. Let's give a big shout out. Coach Rick Tocchet, coaching the Pacific Division.
Friend of the show. Let's get Talk on here. We got to get Talk on here.
He wants to come on.
Talk's great.
We'll get him on. And before I turn it over to you guys, KT, what a great job you did in Houston and all season long. Panger,
thank you.
You do a great job. I love listening to you guys. So you guys keep it up in the booth and or on the field or between the glass, between the benches, all that. So
thanks,
keep up
buddy.
the great work, guys.
Thanks, Craig.
Appreciate that. And one other on a hockey note, today I was at practice, and a number of showcase teams were there, including CompuWare and Little Caesars and Madison, the Capital. Let me see, the Madison Capitals. I believe they are
out of Wisconsin,
to go along with a couple of teams from St. Louis, Car Shield AAA, and sure enough, all these kids were finishing things up. There's only one game left, and I left the Hawks practice to go over there and watch the U18 because you just get a feel for it, and you're watching the parents watch the game, and I always enjoy watching minor hockey, and so I slid over there for a little bit, and sure enough, I was going to go into the locker room as we were talking with Eric about just that. Going in the room is the greatest thing. Most of the guys just talk to me about golf and where's my mirror clubs and where's my putter. But anyway, it's still invigorating. And sure enough, all these kids were finishing their game, and who pops onto the ice in a green sweater and a bubble, a clear mask that he wore all of his junior career, Connor Bedard.
Wow.
These kids never thought they were going to see him. He's got a fractured jaw. He had surgery a week ago, and the doctors gave him permission to get out there and skate. He and Nick Foligno.
Oh, the kids must have gone bonkers.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, these kids, it was unbelievable.
That's
just the
awesome.
impact that Connor Bedard has. And so the NHL certainly, needs Connor back, and the All-Star that won't be going to the All-Star game, but I'm sure he'll be there. Anyway, and I just thought I'd share that with everyone because it was just great, not for us personally and selfishly as National Hockey League broadcasters or just fans of the game, but for the kids, and their eyeballs never left him the entire time.
That's awesome.
That's
love
amazing.
it.
And one thing I will say
is.
too is, KT, now that football's winding up for you, can't wait to see you joining Panger on the TNT broadcast.
It's winding down. Yep. My football season's done, and so I will now shift to TNT. I'm going to broadcast the match for TNT. I'm going to get some. We'll do some hockey games, and I'll kind of shift my attention that way. So Panger, I'll be seeing you on the road soon. We could take this show on the road. I can't wait.
I'll join you guys.
I can't wait for that for sure.
Can't wait to see you, give you a hug in person.
You bring the bourbon. You'll get a hug. You bring the bourbon. I'll have the coffee in the morning. You got that from Eric Legrand, and we've got all our
all our back to you gear.
Great stuff from Johnny O's.
Yep. Friendly reminder, B2Y15 for 15% off of your first order at johnny-o.com. And Johnny O's are good pals, giving everybody 15% off their first order, which, by the way, go take advantage. Fill the cart up, buy everything you want. It's the best gear. It's cozy. It's great to travel in. It's great. It looks leisurely. It works on the golf course. It works in the country club. It works in the clubhouse, everywhere. So, B2Y15 for 15% off.
And I'm going to be in Arizona late January over at 12 of us over at Whisper Rock. And so the Mura clubs are getting shipped over there. Hopefully I'll see Bill Holowati as well while he's there, and the guys, Jared and the boys. And I'll have to wear this because I'm looking at the temperatures. This is needed in Arizona for the morning for sure, isn't it?
For the morning, you might have a little frost delay, but once that sun comes out, you'll be good with this little quarter zip on. And
this is perfect.
Teeing it up. Have the club shipped to my house. Let me scope those out before you use them.
Give them a little test drive. I love it. I got my mirror fitting tomorrow, guys. Can't wait to talk about it on the next podcast, on the next episode. I'm really excited. Looking forward to that. And our thanks again to Eric Legrand for joining us. Just amazing, amazing person. And we wish him continued success for all the things he's doing. But Niner, safe travels to you moving forward. You got a busy stretch ahead. Guys. And Panger, we'll see you down the road soon. But for now, guys, that's another one in the books for us in the Back to You podcast.
Go Lions.
That's a wrap. Thanks, KT. Thanks, Niner.
Guys.
You go to johnny-o.com, johnny-o.com, 50% off the first purchase, and using the B2Y15, B2Y15, back to you 15. So that's 15% off their first purchase. Our good friends over at Johnny O's, and don't forget, the Mura story is one of family, passion, and precision. It's one focused on the power of touch with every iron handcrafted and a belief in meticulous attention to detail. It's one grounded by an unwavering commitment to the pursuit of perfection. I can speak from experience. That buttery feel coming through the golf ball is truly second to none. You can visit MuraGolf.com to learn the Mura story, discover the lineup of forged irons and wedges, plus much more. Specifically for our listeners, you can enjoy 15% off your next purchase on the site using the promo code BACK2U15. That's back, the number 2U15. MuraGolf.com also has a dealer location, so you can find a retailer near you if you're looking to test these irons out or get your hands on in person. Discover perfection with Mura Golf.